It amazes me that Francis Scott Keys is still honored. With the racist national anthem, he was a slave owner, he was a lawyer. And when people salute the flag, they're not they when people have problems with critical race theory or they have problems with anything that they come into question. That's why Trump and DeSantis, when I call out their bigot behavior and their hatred with black people concerned, people got a problem. But it's not just a them. It was no different with Joe Biden, Bush, Clinton. None of them. You know, even Obama. If you don't speak out about the racists that wrote the anthem and the flag and everything, there is nothing to salute. I say this all the time. We haven't had a holy day. How are we going to have a holiday? A holy day would spiritually purify and cleanse the sins of the past, of the disregard, institutionalized systematic racism. Francis Scott Key's anthem is racist, what he represented. And so, how can you have holidays and talk about freedom when in the very songs and the material that was written, they weren't constituted for black folks? How can you do that? That's why they so opposed to critical race theory. They selective about what they want to teach you about the past, but yet they want to hang on to the Confederate flag and the rebel flags. They want to hang on to the American flag when they have taken more black lives in it than they have saved. Even have you to fight wars to get your freedom when you weren't free. And like I always say, up until 1964 with the civil rights was the only time that you had a legalized level playing field on a piece of paper, which is only 61 years ago. Make that make sense. But all the way through Vietnam War, you still had separate barracks. So how does Francis Scott Key's old anthem and the flag and all that are something to celebrate and honor? See, that is the sham, the embarrassing, and the ties. He came through Britain, the Battle of Baltimore. He was on through all that to America. Let's put it in perspective. Yes, they separated the new land, but they still had black folks chained in bonds. 1776, pretty much to 1964, was the only time that you had half a step to work in the same place. Places were legally denying you. But that national anthem played. Britain didn't clear to 1833. So no one has no, which makes that be coming up on, that's been almost 200 years coming up there. It's not that long ago. So people don't understand when you talk about institutionalized systematic racism and slavery and everything, and these anthems and these people that have documented and put everything down, you ain't hardly teaching it near enough to reflect the reality. So Francis Scott Keys' anthem is racist and all that stuff, the flags, all that stuff. You can't have a holiday if you haven't had a holy day. That's my argument, my counter to it, and I'm going to stick to it. And when you're acknowledging the evils and the negativity, how are you going to ever call yourself free? When you don't see the ones that, and you want them to pledge allegiance, you want them to take that when it wasn't written for, and you want to whitewash all that, that is institutionalized systematic racism. Now that is a true pandemic that will never be cured. And that has been going on far too long. So if you condone that sort of thing, then you're saying it's justifiable by what they do with their actions. It's not inclusive. It's divisive. And it's evil and demonic. That is the reality. That's why reparations and everything, we will never have a holiday until we have a holy day. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.